Hey, how's it going, everyone? It is Draco. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 114, A Guild Connection. The cover page for this chapter has quite a lot going on. You have Natsu, Gray, Juvia, and Lucy on it. Gray and Natsu are both having an eating competition, which I feel like this has happened before because like Lucy's in the background like, oh great, here we go again. But Juvia's just enjoying any time she gets with Gray, which they are dressed up very tropical for this cover. I think it's pretty fun. I just love the fact that Lucy's like clearly seen this before and she's like, I'm so annoyed with this. So we pick up our chapter with Gray / Juvia fighting Sai. He's doing his ice make magic stance, but he's, figured out how to use the water magic that Juvia uses. And he does the water make lance, which for the rest of the chapter he also is using his regular spells, but is using Juvia's like water magic. So it's kind of fun seeing, because he does ice make lance and he did water make lance right here. So it's pretty fun seeing Gray's magic and how effective it would be in water form compared to his ice form. Sai seems to dodge the water make lance pretty easily, and Gray follows it up with a water make hammer, which I really like this one because it just dumps a ton of water on top of Sai, and he's like, oh, well, I guess that's a little bit more effective when it's cold. If he did turn that into ice, he actually would have fully gotten that guy because most people just dodge that attack. Which for the amount of time that he's with Juvia, he did not pick up like any spells that she uses because he's like, oh, I gotta think back to like, what does Juvia use? And just as he's thinking back on Juvia, it's just only times when she's just like running after him saying Gray-sama, or her being mad about like love rivals. But he does get the one spell that Juvia pretty much always constantly uses, which is Water Slicer. He basically just figures that, he's going to have to turn all of the water attacks into like blades. And Sai's like, oh crap, he's figuring it out. Oh no, I gotta undo this real quick. And Gray is just like, well, I was just getting used to this. So, before you do that, I'm going to attack you anyway. And he follows it up with a water make battle axe. I do like his spin on Juvia's magic, which as that hits Sai, very much reminds me of like Gray's like Demon Slayer magic, to where he's like switching his hands real quick. And the attack that Gray follows up the water battle axe with is a water Gunir. I always hate pronouncing that attack. Which that sends Sai just crashing to the ground. He's like, oh crap, I'm probably not going to win this if we just keep him as Juvia right now. So Sai goes to do another alchemy attack on Gray, and he's calling this one his weak bond. I will say, not a great idea to tell the person what you're planning to do with this weak bond attack, because he says, who is the person you look down on most in the world? Who is the person that you think is the weakest? And with that, he casts the weak bond attack, and Gray just ends up turning back into Gray. Which, yeah, not a great idea to say, like, who do you think is the weakest in the world? Because it's like, well, just like quickly think yourself, and it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna turn back into yourself. Which even Gray's like, well, I thought of probably a bunch of people that are a lot weaker than me, but I guess that means, I couldn't lie to myself, and I guess that means I think I'm weak. Which I do like that, he goes into, I guess it's not that bad because, since I'm weak, I have a guild, right? Which as it cuts to his fellow guild members, I'd just like to point out that, honestly, that looks like Lucy is wearing like the original like purple Grand Magic Games outfit. And I'm like, that's kind of cool to see that back again. I don't know if it's exactly that. I just remember that it had like the little fairy tale symbol on the chest. I think it's just the different hairstyle and the fact that she isn't wearing all the accessories of that outfit. Sai was struggling when Gray was trying to figure out Juvia's magic and fight him. He's going to be really screwed now that Gray has his full magic back. Gray's going on a pretty hefty monologue here, saying that like, even if he is weak, he's got the guild, to back him up to be as strong as he wants to be. I'm pretty sure that this is a new spell that he casts because I don't ever remember him casting it. He might have done it like in a unison raid, but he basically takes Juvia's signature attack, the Water Slicer, and he does the Ice Make Cold Slicer. Like if it's like any bit sharp at all and like you're just gonna get hit with like hard ice, which it was pretty darn effective on taking taking out Sai because he gets one-shotted by it, which he drops the core and Gray breaks it with his boot, completing his mission of destroying the core that he got like teleported to, which as Sai is on the ground dying out, he starts to say a name, and he says the name God Brother, which I genuinely have no idea where that's gonna connect to. So we cut over to Juvia waking up, and she thought her turning into Gray was just a dream. And I do like that she's like, well, I passed out, you know, having this dream about turning into Gray because I was thinking of him too much. Kana was like being really honest with it, like, oh yeah, that actually happened. I like that Elfman's the one like, don't say she turned into him. She will just pass out again, pretend it was a dream. So we cut over to Natsu and Suzaku fighting the Earth Dragon God, which Suzaku is out of this fight and his head is getting stomped on by the Earth Dragon God, which as he's stomping on Suzaku, he's like, well, you know, all sorts of disasters are caused by, you know, humankind, and I am the one that's gonna reclaim the Earth. And it looks like humans are stupid to the Earth in pretty much any era. And Natsu's just like, dude, that's just how humans are. Like, we're just gonna live life to the fullest, like, and you really expect us to be any different? I kind of find it interesting, this next part here, because it's not really something that gets touched on all that much. Like, you had the dragon seed and the demon seed thing, but that was like kind of like a weird part of like the Alvarez stuff that didn't, I mean, yeah, you had Natsu pick a, you know, to be a human, but like, did it really get touched on all that much? So he's saying that he can smell the sense of a dragon and a demon on Natsu. I like that he's just like, you should get your nose checked because that's ancient history at this point. That he chose to be a human and he's Natsu of fairy tale. Which just saying that he is Natsu of fairy tale has so much power behind it that he can actually hurt the Earth Dragon God. This is pretty much Natsu's Thanos, all that for a drop of blood moment. We cut over to the rest of the guild members destroying the cores, and they have 42 more to go, and Gajiel just found one. And as he's going to like go destroy the core, he's like, huh, I smell something. It smells like a dragon. So that's just one dragon, so it smells like multiple. And he turns around to find that it's God Serene behind him. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. Kind of interesting that God Serene is in a new guild, that he is in the Golden Owl Guild along with Sai. Now he got wrecked real hard by Acnologia, and then, you know, during the final part of like the Alvarez Spriggan 12 stuff, he was just a like puppet because, you know, he was dead, but, you know, he got brought back like via like necromancy, and he got pretty messed up again by guild arts. Out of the like list of characters on the show, he's like one of the few that is actually dead, and he looks pretty good. Like, I don't see any like him having a hole in his chest or missing limbs, and he doesn't even particularly have any scars on him. Since particularly he's in a alchemy guild, there could be a situation where they have a way to bring him back to life, or maybe like clone him or something, because honestly we have no idea what alchemy can even fully do. I mean, his title is the same as, you know, the one we had previously in the story, but I'm just saying, like, it could be like an imposter situation we got here, like someone that's disguised as another person. Sai already demonstrated the capability of turning one person into another person. So, I mean, it could very well be another person is turned themselves into God Serene and is using his power. If this is fully him, like, brought back to life, I will say, kind of an interesting fight for Gajiel to have, because this was a guy that went up against guild arts of all people, and also Acnologia. I mean, he got wrecked pretty hard by both of them, but it would be interesting to see Gajiel go up against him. Especially if he uses all 8 of his Dragon Slayer magics, like, to see how Gajiel's gonna fight that. Going back to the beginning parts of the chapter, I really liked Gray taking his magic, but then putting like a Juvia spin on it. Otherwise, what do you guys think of the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out. And thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.